What is going on, YouTube? Today I got something that I was craving for a while. Again, I don't know why. Like, it's just I don't know why. Just sometimes these cravings for this particular thing just gets me, and I can't, like, I don't know. So I got myself some pizza. I didn't want to get it from someone that I already got it from before on the channel, so I got it from Domino's. Now, me and Domino's have a turbulent relationship because there's a time where I really liked Domino's, and then there's a time I really didn't like Domino's because there was this Domino's I used to go to all the time, and for some reason the pizza tasted absolutely horrendous there. I don't know why, and it was like the one particular Domino's, but it was the only Domino's in the area, right? So I would just get food from that Domino's when it was just like, the wrong move to do, like, all the time. But I still stuck to it, and I still got it just because I wanted pizza, and then it ruined Domino's for me. So now I'm returning, obviously not with the same Domino's place, a different Domino's, but almost forgot to show you guys the pizza here. It's looking pretty good. I got the usual, ground beef, green olives, but I added something different to it, which I used to also get when I was younger. I added mushrooms to it. So now ground beef, green olives, mushrooms to the pizza here. Can't put it on the highest land because it'll fall off and slide everywhere, and we don't want that. We don't want the ground to eat the pizza. I want to eat the pizza. So before we get started, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below if anything you want to try, anything you want to talk about. I'm down to do that. As always, check out the timestamps in the description. So we got the creamy garlic here. All right, first bite of this Domino's pizza. The thing I do like about Domino's is that they have like bigger pieces of ground beef, like mushroom. You can see here the ground beefs are like big pieces. So far, so good. No, it's pretty good. Isn't too bad. The crust isn't really crunchy, which I'd personally prefer, but mushrooms don't really got a taste to them, more of like a textury feeling to it. So as you guys heard, no crunch. And yeah, the ground beef's really nice. I like that they're in bigger chunks. I wish there was just more ground beef on it, Every slice of pizza got like 2 pieces on it. I wish there was like 5, so that like every bite you take, you can get 1 or 2 pieces of beef in it, like the ground beef, but they need to save money, so can't blame them, of course. I like and appreciate the cheese to sauce ratio on this one. I really do. It's not like overly cheesy. It's not overly saucy. Because that's one thing I don't like, overly saucy pizza. I'd rather have a pizza that has too much cheese on than too much sauce. It's balancing. So now the topic of the video today isn't necessarily something that's like happened that I'm like, oh, I want to give my thoughts on a commentary, but it's actually a story. And it's a story I really like and I really find interesting. I also got a comment recently where they're just like, you should talk about like crime documentary stuff like that. This isn't really a crime documentary, which I do like know a bunch of them, which I'll like share with you guys later, just because I find it interesting. But this one isn't necessarily a crime documentary. So Let me tell you a story. The story is called The Lamp. It's pretty popular. I heard it actually a while ago, and then I started hearing it again recently, but maybe because I was like liking things that has to do with it. And the algorithm's like, yeah, let's keep showing him the same story over and over again. So the story is called The Lamp. Just so you know, I don't know it word for word, right? I just heard this story a few times. I've also heard it been told a few different ways, but story was generally the same. I'm gonna say it, and it'll be generally the same. So the story follows a guy named, let's call him Mitchell. I think that's his name. It's probably not his name. The story follows a guy named Mitchell. Mitchell's in college and he wants to hang out with some friends. So one night he goes to the bar with his friends, right? On campus, just a regular night out with his friends. And then when he gets to the bar, he meets eyes with a lady, right? We'll call her Jenny. He meets eyes with Jenny. Jenny was like the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his life. It was like love at first sight. So eventually he went up to her and talked to her. And you know, there's an instant connection, you know, sparks fly. Eventually they swap numbers. They start talking. They go home. They start talking to each other. One thing leads to another. They go on their first date. And they go on multiple dates, and eventually they get married. And at this point, Mitch is like, oh, I want to have kids. So then they end up having kids, and they're living this great life together. And then they move into a house together. And in this house, he's sitting on his couch one day, and he notices something at the corner of his eye while he's watching TV. He notices a lamp in his room. Now, for some reason, this lamp that he's looking at is all blurry. Only the lamp is blurry, though. The TV and nothing else is blurry. Mind you, this isn't like a screen he's looking at. There's like a physical lamp that's in his room next to TV. Imagine this bottle of Coke is right next to this pizza, but only the Coke is blurry, but the pizza is like regular, but you're looking at it with your eyes. It's blurry. And he can't figure out why this is blurry. Like, why would something that you're physically looking at be blurry? It makes no sense, right? It looks like it's unrendered. So he starts rubbing his eyes and he's like, huh, it's still blurry. And eventually, he just starts getting fixated on this lamp. Like, he can't look away from this lamp. He can't do anything but look at this lamp and try to figure out why it's so blurry. So he doesn't go to work the next day. He tells his wife that he's not feeling well and that he has to stay home. But then he ends up missing like 3 days of work. And he's just fixated on this lamp. And he's just trying to figure out what is going on here. Like, why is this lamp blurry? And to make things worse, after a while of this lamp just being blurry, him not being able to figure out what is going on with this lamp, the lamp is now upside down. Like, the lamp is just upside down in his room. So now the lamp's blurry and upside down just on his night table. And he's just trying to figure this out. And eventually it drives him mad. He starts going crazy. He's just like, why am I in this living room? And this lamp is just upside down and blurry. And then eventually, I think it starts showing like red light. Like, the lamp just starts showing red light. And then his wife's asking him what's wrong, and he can't answer her. He's just so fixated on the lamp. And then all of a sudden, the lamp starts growing like exponentially at an exponential rate until it starts becoming as big as a room. And suddenly it's starting to like break through the barriers of the house. And then suddenly Mitch hears this like loud like beeping noise, like a beep, like just a loud beeping noise. And he starts hearing people talk, and then boom, he wakes up. He's just on the ground. He just wakes up and he looks up. And then when he's looking up, like he's on his back, there's people surrounding him, like looking down at him, like, what's going on here? And he gets up and he's like frantic. He's like, what's happening? Where am I? Where's my family? He starts like pushing through the crowd. He finds like a police officer. Because remember, he woke up, he's outside. There's a crowd around him. And he's like, he finds a police officer. He's like, where's my wife and kids? Where's my wife and kids? And they're just like, they don't know. So it turns out that, remember at the beginning of the story when I went to say that Mitch went to go have drinks with his friends, or he went to a bar, wherever it was, and that's where he met Jenny. I think that's what I said her name was. It turns out when he was on his way there, he got tackled by a football player and he got knocked unconscious onto the pavement. And in that time, he was knocked unconscious from the pavement, like 5 minutes, however long he's been knocked out on that pavement, he lived a whole life in his head. He imagined that he was like, he met this girl, he got married, he had kids, he did all these things, just like life, just like 20 years, 30 years of just life in his brain. And isn't that crazy? the time could be perceived so differently in your mind. It could feel like forever. It felt like, it's kind of like Inception when they're in the dream and then they lived like a whole life together. I don't know if anyone who's seen it. They lived like a whole life together and then they woke up. It's actually the exact same thing, because in that movie, his wife like herself, right? Because she couldn't stand the thought of like growing old and having like all these things in life and then it just being taken away. Same thing for him. He went to therapy. If like, apparently this is a true story too, and the guy might still be in therapy from this, because just imagine everything you've known, you lived all these days, all these lives, had kids, and you wake up and it's like you're back to the beginning, and it's like, what happened there? Like if you had a horrible life, you'd probably be relieved, but at the same time, it didn't sound like he had a horrible life. He sounded like he lived a very good life, right? So that is the story of the lamp. Wow, that story, I love hearing that story. I love telling that story because it's such like a surreal story. And the fact that the story is real is just like, it's crazy to me, because how is something like that real? How can your brain just like create something like that? It's actually insane. I hope that guy's doing all right, because wow. And you know, I believe there's a name for that, whatever happens there, like that condition or that instance. But unfortunately, I don't know the name of it. But I want you guys to sit there and think. Just really think about what you would do in that situation if that were to happen to you. Like, honestly, what can you do in that situation? But it's like, whoa. I think the reason why the story is very like interesting to me is because it's related so closely to Inception. Inception is one of my favorite movies. Not saying it's one of the best movies ever created, but it's definitely one of my personal favorite movies. I remember I watched Inception so many times. I bought it on my Xbox so I could watch it again. All I know is I pray nothing like that ever happens to me. I pray that I'm not in it right now, you know? You never know. Final bite here of the Domino's pizza. All right, so that was Domino's pizza. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I give it like a, what was the best pizza I had? I'm like trying to think back. It's not better than Pizza Fiamma. I'll give it like a 7.3. But yeah, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below if anything you want to try, anything you want to talk about. I'm down to that. As always, check out videos in the side. And yeah, that was the lamp story. I really enjoyed that story. I hope you guys really enjoy that story. I think it's just very cool and interesting. It's just very like tragic, but also very like, you know, how does that even happen? It just really shows that there's so much that we don't understand as people, as humans, about ourselves, our brains, our body, everything. Because like, how can the brain actually interpret such a small amount of time as being something way larger? It interpreted the life he lived after that more time than the life he's already lived. You know if that makes any sense? Because he's like 20, but it interpreted 50 years of life. So that means it interpreted additional 30 years of life. I almost dropped my Dippix last year, but isn't that insane? I don't know. It's just very interesting. It makes me really just sit and think. Yeah, no, it's crazy. But that being said, you guys, Domino 7.3 out of 10. The lamp story, really interesting. Thank you for watching. Until next time, first review. Peace.